Every night, as we close our eyes and drift into sleep, we step into an alternate reality, a world where logic bends, time stretches, and the impossible becomes ordinary. Here, you might find yourself flying above a city or talking to someone long gone. But have you ever stopped to wonder why your brain creates this cinematic experience? Dreams have fascinated humans for thousands of years. Ancient Egyptians believed dreams were messages from gods. Greeks thought they could predict the future. Yet today, science tells us something far more intriguing. Dreams may be the mind's way of sorting, healing, and preparing for the challenges of waking life. To understand why we dream, we first need to understand what happens in our brain when we sleep. Our sleep isn't just a blank period of rest. It's a complex cycle made up of distinct stages: NREM, non-rapid eye movement, and REM, rapid eye movement sleep. During REM sleep, the stage where most vivid dreams occur, our brain becomes almost as active as when we're awake. Neurons fire rapidly, the amygdala, our emotional center, lights up, and the prefrontal cortex, responsible for logic and decision-making, partially shuts down. This might explain why dreams often feel emotional, bizarre, and illogical. But what's remarkable is that our bodies are paralyzed during REM sleep, a natural mechanism called REM autonia, which prevents us from physically acting out our dreams. Without it, we'd literally live out our fantasies in bed, a rare sleep disorder known as REM behavior disorder. So, dreams happen in a perfectly orchestrated moment when our minds are active, but our bodies are still. The real question remains: why does the brain put on this nightly show? Is it just random neural noise, or does it serve a deeper purpose? The answer lies buried deep in neuroscience. And over the next few parts, we'll uncover what the latest research reveals about this mysterious theater of the mind. Inside your skull, during sleep, a silent storm brews. While your eyes dart rapidly beneath closed lids, your brain lights up in a unique pattern. Modern tools like fMRI and EEG have allowed scientists to watch this process in real time, revealing the astonishing choreography of dreaming. Dreaming primarily occurs in the REM stage, though research shows fragments can appear in NREM sleep too. During REM, the pons, a structure in the brainstem, sends electrical signals upward, activating regions like the amygdala, hippocampus, and visual cortex. These areas handle emotion, memory, and imagery, key ingredients of a dream. The prefrontal cortex, on the other hand, becomes less active. That's why in dreams we accept impossible things, flying without wings or talking to a childhood pet, without question. Interestingly, neuroscientists discovered that dreams share neural activity with daydreaming and imagination. In all cases, the default mode network DMN, the brain's idle system, comes alive. It suggests that dreams may be the brain's natural form of simulation, a built-in virtual reality to process life experiences, emotions, and memories. One groundbreaking study by Harvard psychiatrist Dr. Robert Stickgold showed that participants who learned a new skill, like playing a video game, performed better the next day if they dreamed about it. This revealed that dreams are not random. They are part of a cognitive process where the brain consolidates learning. In other words, every night your brain replays, edits, and stores the story of your day, shaping who you'll be tomorrow. Every night, billions of minds drift into strange stories that seem to come from nowhere. You might wake up shaken after falling endlessly through darkness, or smiling after meeting someone long lost. We've all wondered it at least once. Was that dream trying to tell me something? From ancient temples to modern laboratories, humans have always searched for meaning in dreams. But the answer, as it turns out, sits somewhere between myth and neuroscience. The earliest recorded dream interpretations date back over 3,000 years. The Babylonians and Egyptians saw dreams as divine messages, instructions from gods about the future. Ancient Greeks went even further. They built Asclepian temples, where people slept to receive healing dreams from the gods. Even in the Bible and Quran, dreams were seen as sacred revelations. For thousands of years, people believed dreams were external, something sent to us. Then, in the early 1900s, a revolutionary mind changed everything. Sigmund Freud, the father of psychoanalysis, proposed that dreams were not divine at all. They were windows into the unconscious mind. Freud's famous book, The Interpretation of Dreams, argued that dreams reveal repressed desires and hidden fears. He called them the royal road to the unconscious. In Freud's theory, dreams disguise forbidden thoughts, transforming them into symbols that protect us from confronting them directly. For example, a A dream about climbing a staircase might represent ambition or even sexual desire. While Freud's ideas became culturally iconic, modern neuroscience paints a far more complex and fascinating picture. Today, most scientists agree that dreams aren't coded messages from the unconscious, but products of active brain systems that process emotion and memory. In the 1970s, Harvard scientists Alan Hobson and Robert McCarley proposed the activation synthesis theory. According to it, dreams occur when random electrical signals from the brainstem activate various memory fragments, emotions, and sensory experiences, and the cerebral cortex tries to make sense of them. In short, the brain creates a story to explain internal chaos. But that's not the end of it. More recent research suggests dreams are not meaningless noise either. Instead, they may represent a kind of emotional regulation system. Neuroscientist Matthew Walker, author of Why We Sleep, explains that during REM sleep, the brain replays emotional experiences from waking life, but without the stress chemicals like norepinephrine. This allows us to reprocess painful emotions safely, as if the brain is performing overnight therapy. Think about it. After a breakup, an argument, or a loss, you often dream about that person or situation. It's not random. It's your brain revisiting the emotional wound, softening its impact, and helping you adapt. In this sense, dreams do have meaning, not as prophecies but as emotional rehearsals. Even more intriguing, dream incorporation studies show that recent experiences often weave directly into dreams. Psychologists call this the day residue effect. For example, if you spend hours studying before bed, you might dream of books or classrooms. The next night, those memories transform, combining with older ones, producing a surreal narrative that connects fragments of your identity. Modern dream research continues to evolve. fMRI scans reveal that when we dream, the brain's limbic system, which processes emotions, is hyperactive, while the prefrontal cortex, responsible for logic, is subdued. This mix explains why dreams feel deeply emotional yet irrational. They're meaningful not because they predict the future, but because they mirror our inner present. Still, the mystery endures. Some dreams are too vivid, too poetic, too specific to dismiss as random. Science may not decode every symbol, but it shows that dreams serve a psychological purpose: to integrate our experiences, regulate our feelings, and strengthen our sense of self. So, do dreams have meaning? Yes, but not in the way oracles once thought. They are stories our brains tell to make peace with our emotions, to connect scattered memories, and to remind us who we are. And in the next part, we'll explore how dreams shape our memory and creativity, revealing why some of history's greatest ideas, from Einstein's theories to famous inventions, may have been born in the dream world itself. Would you like me to continue with part 4? Dreams, Memory, and Creativity. Another 600 words, same storytelling tone? I can also adapt it to sound more like a YouTube voiceover narration script, e.g., with cues like imagine this or picture this scene. Would you prefer that version for the next parts? Imagine this. You're struggling with a problem all day, a math equation, a song lyric, or maybe a story idea, and no matter how hard you try, it just won't click. Frustrated, you go to bed. Then suddenly, in the middle of the night, your dreaming mind hands you the answer, as if the universe whispered it into your ear. This isn't a fantasy. It's science. Throughout history, countless breakthroughs have emerged from dreams. Chemist Auguste Kekulé dreamt of a snake biting its own tail, and woke up realizing the circular structure of the benzene molecule. Paul McCartney heard the melody of Yesterday in a dream before writing it down. And Albert Einstein once described imagining himself riding a beam of light, a daydream that inspired his theory of relativity. But what exactly is happening inside the brain when it creates such miracles in our sleep? To answer that, let's look at how memory works. When we experience something new, a conversation, a lesson, a sight, our brain initially stores it in a fragile, short-term form in the hippocampus, a seahorse-shaped structure deep within the brain. Over time, especially during sleep, this memory is transferred and stabilized in the neocortex, the brain's outer layer responsible for long-term storage. This process is called memory consolidation, and it's one of the most crucial functions of dreaming. During REM sleep, the hippocampus and neocortex engage in a kind of dialogue. They replay fragments of experiences, reassemble them, and decide what to keep or discard. Studies using brain imaging and EEG show that people who are deprived of REM sleep struggle with learning, problem-solving, and emotional control. In 2004, Neuroscientist Matthew Walker conducted an experiment in which participants learned a series of word pairs. After sleeping, and particularly after REM cycles, their memory recall improved dramatically compared to those who stayed awake. Dreams, it turns out, act like an overnight editor, cleaning up the messy draft of our daily thoughts. But dreaming doesn't just preserve memory, it transforms it. While awake, our thinking is linear and logical. But during dreams, when the prefrontal cortex quiets down and emotional and visual centers ignite, the mind begins to free associate. Ideas that were previously separate suddenly connect. This is why dreams feel so bizarre, and why they can be so creative. Neuroscientists call this associative thinking, and it's the backbone of innovation. By allowing the brain to link unrelated concepts, a snake and a molecule, a melody and a feeling, dreams fuel imagination beyond the limits of conscious thought. Psychologist Deirdre Barrett from Harvard University studied this phenomenon and found that people who focus on a problem before sleep are more likely to dream about it, and sometimes even solve it. She calls this dream incubation. It's as if the subconscious continues working while the conscious mind rests. What's even more fascinating is how emotional experiences shape these dreams. The amygdala, our brain's emotional hub, remains highly active during REM sleep. So the memories replayed are not random. They're often those charged with meaning, fear, love, or ambition. By revisiting them in symbolic form, the brain not only stores but reshapes them, turning raw emotion into insight and confusion into clarity. Dreams, in essence, are the brain's most creative laboratory, one where logic takes a back seat and imagination drives the experiment. So the next time you wake up from a strange dream, one that seems unrelated or absurd, don't dismiss it. It might just be your mind making connections your waking self couldn't see. In the sleeping theater of the brain, we are all inventors, artists, and philosophers. And as we'll see in the next part, dreams do more than sharpen our creativity. They protect our mental health, helping us process trauma, reduce anxiety, and restore emotional balance in ways science is only beginning to understand. Picture this, it's midnight. The world outside is silent, but inside your brain, a quiet storm is unfolding. Memories flicker, emotions surge, and faces from the past return, not to haunt you, but to help you heal. Every night while you sleep, your mind performs a remarkable act of emotional repair. Dreams are not just random stories. They're the brain's built-in therapy sessions, working tirelessly to mend emotional wounds that waking life cannot. Let's explore how this invisible healing happens. When we go through emotional experiences, heartbreak, fear, rejection, even joy, our brains flood with chemicals like norepinephrine and adrenaline. These help us react quickly, but they also store emotional charge in our memories. That's why painful moments replay vividly in our minds. They're wired for survival. But during REM sleep, something extraordinary occurs. Norepinephrine, the brain's stress chemical, shuts off almost completely. According to sleep scientist Dr. Matthew Walker, this creates a unique neurochemical environment where we can revisit emotional memories without reliving the stress. Imagine rewatching the most painful moments of your life, but this time, without the pain. That's what your brain does in dreams. In a 2011 study, Walker and his team showed participants emotionally charged images, some disturbing, others neutral. After a night's sleep, brain scans revealed that the emotional centers, especially the amygdala, had calmed dramatically, while memory retention remained strong. The brain remembered what happened, but forgot how it hurt. This is the secret power of dreaming. It separates emotion from memory, allowing us to move on. Think of your dreams as the mind's overnight emotional detox. The imagery may seem surreal, running through forests, falling endlessly, talking to people who vanished. But symbolically, these are the brain's ways of processing emotional energy. For instance, people suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, often experience recurring nightmares, a sign that their REM sleep healing cycle has broken down. The brain keeps replaying the trauma, but without entering the safe, stress-free REM environment necessary to neutralize it. This discovery has led researchers to explore therapies that mimic dreamlike conditions. One of them, called image rehearsal therapy, IRT, involves rewriting recurring nightmares while awake, changing the storyline so that the brain learns to replace fear with control. It's essentially dream editing as therapy, and it works. Even more fascinating is the emotional intelligence of our dreaming mind. During REM sleep, the amygdala, emotion, hippocampus, memory, and anterior cingulate cortex, emotional regulation, synchronize in rhythm. It's a perfect triad of feeling, remembering, and healing, a neurological symphony designed to restore balance. And it's not just negative emotions that benefit. Dreaming also enhances empathy and social connection. Studies show that after REM-rich sleep, people interpret facial expressions more accurately and respond more kindly to others. It's as if the brain resets its emotional compass overnight, tuning us toward compassion. So the next time you wake up from a dream that made you cry or feel uneasy, don't dismiss it as nonsense. That emotional stirring is evidence of healing. Your brain has been working behind the scenes, stitching emotional wounds into understanding. In this sense, dreams are not just mysterious visuals, they are deeply human experiences, proof that the mind cares for itself. Every night, the brain whispers to the heart, "Let it go. You're safe now." And that's perhaps the most beautiful truth science has uncovered about dreams. They are nature's way of giving our hearts a second chance to heal. In the next part, we'll go even deeper, exploring lucid dreaming, the rare phenomenon where you become aware you're dreaming. What happens when we take control of this hidden world? Can we use it to learn, create, or even heal ourselves consciously? Prepare to step into the frontier of the mind, where dreams meet awareness and science meets imagination. Have you ever realized you were dreaming, right in the middle of a dream? Maybe you looked around, confused, and thought, wait, this isn't real. And then suddenly, the impossible became possible. You could fly, change the setting, or even meet someone who doesn't exist. That moment, when you wake up inside your dream, is called lucid dreaming. And it's one of the most mysterious frontiers of human consciousness. What exactly is lucid dreaming? Lucid dreaming happens when the brain becomes self-aware while still asleep. In normal dreams, we're passive participants, swept up in the story. But in a lucid dream, part of our prefrontal cortex, the brain's logic and awareness center, reactivates. That's the same region that normally shuts down during REM sleep, which is why dreams feel illogical. When this region lights back up, it's like turning on the lights inside the theater of the mind. The dreamer realizes, this world is not real, but I'm still in control. Scientists have been studying lucid dreaming for decades, but the first major breakthrough came in the 1970s. A researcher named Keith Hearn in the UK asked lucid dreamers to perform a specific pattern of eye movements during their dreams. Left, right, left, right. Why? Because even when we're asleep, our eyes still move in real time during REM sleep. And when the dreamers did it, the eye signals appeared on the EEG recordings. It was the first scientific proof that someone could be conscious while dreaming. The science behind the phenomenon. Inside the lucid dreamer's brain, something extraordinary happens. The prefrontal cortex partially wakes up, restoring critical thinking. Meanwhile, the amygdala and visual cortex remain active, maintaining the dream world's vivid, emotional landscape. It's like being in a virtual reality simulation powered entirely by your mind, one that feels absolutely real. Modern fMRI studies, like those by neuroscientist Ursula Voss, have shown that lucid dreaming produces a unique hybrid brain state, not fully awake, not fully asleep. It's consciousness in limbo, walking a tightrope between two worlds. Can we learn to control our dreams? The idea of controlling dreams has captivated humans for centuries. Ancient Tibetan monks practiced a form of meditation called dream yoga, using lucidity to achieve enlightenment by recognizing the illusion of reality itself. Today, science is catching up. Researchers have found that people can train themselves to lucid dream through methods like reality checks, asking "Am I dreaming?" during the day, so the habit carries into dreams. Mnemonic induction, mild repeating phrases like, "Next time I dream, I'll remember I'm dreaming." Wake back to bed technique. Waking briefly after 5 to 6 hours of sleep, then going back to bed to re-enter REM consciously. These techniques work because they strengthen metacognition, the brain's ability to think about thinking. Some lucid dreamers report using this power for creativity, overcoming fears, or even improving physical skills. In a 2010 German study, participants who practiced sports in lucid dreams showed measurable improvement in real-world performance. Their brains rehearsed the same motor pathways as if they'd been physically training. A window into consciousness. Lucid dreaming isn't just fascinating, it's scientifically profound. It challenges one of the biggest questions in neuroscience. What is consciousness? If we can be aware inside a dream, if we can think, choose, and feel in a world that doesn't exist, then consciousness isn't tied to the outside world at all. It's generated entirely within the brain. Lucid dreaming shows us that reality is more flexible than we imagine. The mind doesn't just perceive worlds, it creates them. So tonight, when you close your eyes and step into that hidden universe, remember, the boundary between waking and dreaming is thinner than you think. You might just find yourself awake, inside your own imagination. Studio microphone, music rises, a mix of wonder and mystery. Because in the next part, we'll explore something even deeper. What happens when dreams go wrong? From sleep paralysis to recurring nightmares, we'll uncover the dark side of dreaming and the science behind our midnight terrors. Every night, as we surrender to sleep, we enter a world of imagination, a private universe built entirely by the brain. But sometimes that world turns against us. A shadow appears. A scream is trapped inside your throat. You try to move, but your body won't obey. Welcome to the dark side of dreaming. The anatomy of a nightmare. Nightmares are among the most ancient and universal human experiences. They're vivid, emotionally intense dreams that trigger fear, panic, or despair, and often wake us abruptly. But unlike ordinary dreams, nightmares leave traces. They haunt us long after we've opened our eyes. Why do we have them? Science reveals that nightmares are deeply connected to the brain's emotional processing systems, particularly the amygdala, our fear center. During REM sleep, when dreams are most vivid, the amygdala becomes hyperactive while the prefrontal cortex, which controls logic and reasoning, goes quiet. It's the perfect recipe for fear without control. For most people, nightmares are rare, even helpful, a way for the brain to rehearse survival scenarios in a safe environment. This theory, called the threat simulation hypothesis, was proposed by Finnish neuroscientist Antti Rauvansuo. He believed nightmares evolved to help our ancestors prepare for danger, a kind of mental training for real-world threats. So when you dream of being chased, falling, or trapped, your brain isn't torturing you, it's testing you. But when nightmares become frequent or repetitive, they can signal emotional overload or trauma. That's why people with PTSD, anxiety, or major stress often report recurring dreams of danger, loss, or paralysis. In these cases, the dream's healing function breaks down, trapping the dreamer in a loop of fear. Sleep paralysis, the nightmare you can't escape. Now imagine this. You wake up, eyes open, fully conscious, but you can't move. You try to scream, but no sound comes out. And then, something moves in the corner of the room. A shadow, a presence watching. This terrifying phenomenon is called sleep paralysis, and it's one of the most unsettling experiences the human brain can produce. Here's the science. During REM sleep, your body is paralyzed, a state called REM atonia, so you don't physically act out your dreams. But sometimes, the brain wakes up before the paralysis wears off. You're conscious, but your muscles remain frozen. Meanwhile, fragments of REM dreaming can still bleed into wakefulness, causing vivid hallucinations, shadow figures, pressure on the chest, or a sense of danger. In ancient cultures, these experiences gave rise to myths about demons, witches, and night spirits, from the old hag of Newfoundland to the jinn in Middle Eastern folklore. But today, neuroscience shows it's a simple, though horrifying, misfire between the brainstem and consciousness. The good news? It passes within minutes and is completely harmless, though it feels anything but. Facing the shadows. Nightmares and sleep paralysis remind us that dreaming isn't just about wonder, it's also about fear. But both serve a purpose. By confronting fear within dreams, we may actually learn to master it. Therapies like lucid dreaming treatment and image rehearsal therapy teach patients to change the script of their nightmares, turning the monster into a guide or the darkness into light. And as their dreams evolve, so does their waking strength. Psychologically, nightmares are proof that the mind never stops protecting us, even when it frightens us. They are the emotional thunderstorms that clear the sky. So the next time you wake up shaken, heart pounding, remember, what you just faced wasn't just a nightmare. It was your brain's way of preparing you for life. Studio microphone, soft piano music fades in, gentle, reflective, hopeful. Dreams are both mirror and medicine, reflections of who we are and blueprints for who we can become. And as science continues to explore this mysterious landscape, one truth remains. We spend a third of our lives sleeping, not escaping reality, but expanding it. Because within every dream lies the story of our mind, raw, honest, and infinite. Crescent moon music swells, closing narration tone. So tonight, when your eyes close and the world fades away, remember, you're not falling asleep. You're falling inward, into the most extraordinary creation of all, your own mind.